AM560.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Well, thanks for joining me tonight. This is Jeannie. It's great to be here with you. The phone number here, 312-642-5600. We've got a lot to discuss. Coming up after this first segment, we'll be talking about Pride Month. Oh, boy, there's plenty to discuss there. We're going to be talking about that big, bad bill, too. Big, beautiful bill, that Trump passed. We're going to have my friend Jonathan Greenburg on. He's with the executive director for Empower Illinois, and one of the provisions in that bill actually brings back tax credit scholarships to Illinois. That's a good thing. In the second hour, we've got Brad Halbrook. Guess what? The Illinois Freedom Caucus is suing the Democrat leaders over their budget process because in their mind, it was completely illegal. I kind of laid that out in my newsletter last week, and I actually forwarded it to a law firm as well to see if they would sue over it. And then we've got the Edgar County Watchdogs. I spent a little time with them on Friday. We went down to the contempt hearing at the Richard J. Daley Center, where she was in court for contempt, failure to provide information on a FOIA that the Edgar County Watchdogs had filed. So we'll talk about that and plenty of other cases. But, let's just get started here. We cannot dismiss what's going on in Los Angeles. You've got massive riots going on there. Militant riots, and it appears that a number of the LA, leaders are all for it. They have no problem with allowing the lawlessness to continue. In fact, they're not doing much about it. This is what one particular LA City Council member had to say.
They know how quickly we mobilize. That's why they're changing tactics, because community defense works and our resistance has slowed them down before. And if they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
Yeah, so that's a response to ICE going in and arresting about 118 people. And these guys think they all should go free. So not only did Ms. Hernandez say that, if ICE shows up, we got to go in stronger. But you had a number of other people speaking out at a rally and unabashedly just claiming that they need to go in and be militant. Take a listen.
Tear gas has filled the air as protesters clashed with police last night in Los Angeles. At least 45 people were arrested last night, while DHS says that more than 118 illegals were apprehended this week. The protester tried to storm into an ICE facility last night after being fired upon by radical speakers at a rally. Listen.
Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Because an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us! And Los Angeles does not back down for that kind of fight!
Continue fighting until we reconstruct every single institution from the ground up so that we can grant full amnesty for all immigrants. Demand full compensation for all of the victims of this criminal injustice system.
What's going to change this is organizing, and not just any type of organizing, militant organizing.
There you go, militant organizing, protect all the victims, full amnesty for everybody. Show up and fight, fight, fight. That was, by the way, that was a little clip from Fox Newscast with Joe Concha leading that off. He also had Tom Homan come in and speak and respond to that. Here's what Tom Homan had to say.
How is ICE responding to these protests? And thanks for joining us tonight.
Look, we're going to continue doing our job. And yesterday we got 118 arrests. I was out here yesterday to kick off this operation. And what people aren't talking about is ICE served several warrants yesterday. These were criminal warrants. This is a criminal investigation. And today we're continuing operations. They're not going to shut us down. We're out there right now doing operations. We're going to keep doing operations. We brought in more resources to push back the protesters, but I'll say it again, a serious warning. You can protest all you want. You got your First Amendment rights. But if you cross that line of impediment, or you're putting hands on officers or destroy property, you will be prosecuted. There's zero tolerance on crossing that lines, and that's what we're standing by. We're bringing more resources as we speak. We'll have more resources tonight. We're going to continue doing the job that American people voted Donald Trump in office to do, and we're not going to apologize for doing it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Stephen Miller, of course, he called the anti-ICE riots in Los Angeles an insurrection against the laws and sovereignty of the United States. He tweeted that out last night. Over 800 rioters trapped DHS agents in a garage and breached the building, causing mass damage. National Guard must be deployed to these situations, and people must be taken into federal custody, or this will get much, much worse. And of course, the riots have shifted to New York, and then you had some today in Chicago. As well. It's Chicago Tribune reporting immigration advocates rallied Sunday for an end to aggressive U.S. immigration and customs enforcement raids in Chicago and denounced the alleged cooperation of Chicago police in arrests made Wednesday. I have no sympathy for these people, none whatsoever. Really don't care, and neither does Trump. And in fact, what he's doing now is he's deploying the California National Guard to secure Los Angeles from the anti-ICE rioters, despite the objections of Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass. In this particular article, New York Post reporting, it's the first time in 60 years that the commander-in-chief deployed a state's National Guard without the governor's blessing. And members of the Trump administration are saying the move is justified because the protests represent a violent insurrection against the country. Yes. Vice President J.D. Vance also used the word insurrection, describing the riots. Insurrectionists carrying foreign flags. That's really depressing. Carrying foreign flags are attacking immigration enforcement officers, while one half of America's political leadership has decided that border enforcement is evil. And that is absolutely what is going on. It's 100% despicable. At this end, too, as part of the reporting, this is Gavin Newsom. The federal government is taking over the California National Guard and deploying 2,000 soldiers in Los Angeles, not because there is a shortage of law enforcement, but because they want a spectacle, Newsom added in another X post. Really, a spectacle? You already have a spectacle, Newsom and Bass. That's exactly what you're seeing. I mean, if you had control of this, then he would not be calling in the police. But let's remember, why is Trump doing this? Well, because in 2020, it was 50 continuous days of riots in Portland against the federal courthouse. 50 continuous days of dangerous riots. People were hurt. They want to burn down the building. Don't you think he's justified in doing this, putting a stop to it now? Because obviously, Newsom, not only did you and Bass screw up in the fires that happened earlier this year, had no control over of any of that. We're not incompetent in handling that situation, but you're obviously incompetent in this situation because it's already gotten out of control. Rocks slammed into the windshields of ICE vehicles, breaking through, harming officers. You got people in riot gear. That's great, but obviously it's not enough because they continue to riot. It's continuing on. Now, I mean, you got to think about this, right? They keep going on and on and on with the protests. So if you can just Google, like, protests against Trump. And of course, I mean, Wikipedia is not that great, but sometimes, you know what? It's decent information. And the left's protests, they had 2 in January, 10 in February, 24 in March. These are days of protest. 21 identified days in April, 23 in May, 4 in June. So far, it's only June 8th. You've had Tesla takedowns, days of action, not my president, hands-off protests against ICE. Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker sit in at the U.S. Capitol. Remember, May 18th, what'd you have here? Oh, you had this entire hands-off chain from Aurora to Little Village in Chicago. These people are out of control. What do they want? They want everybody to have amnesty? I don't think so. That's not going to happen. Now, writing about this was Michael Schellenberger, and he wrote it on his page, and I'm sorry, I forgot what it's called. But the story is, the reason the left loves riots is because it hates civilization. And Schellenberger writes, a lot of people are upset about these images of violent protesters in Los Angeles waving the Mexican flag. If they love Mexico so much, why are they so upset at enforcing our laws against illegal entry? Yeah, exactly. To fully appreciate their significance, Schellenberger writes, it's important to understand that over the last several decades, the people who run California and its major cities came to a new consensus. A large number of our laws were racist and oppressive. Democrats increasingly viewed laws against illegal camping, open-air drug dealing, shoplifting, burglary, arson, and unlawful border crossing not as tools for protecting neighborhoods and preserving public space, but rather as tools for putting poor people and racial minorities in prison. So one by one, Democrats stopped enforcing and weakened laws against drug dealing, illegal camping, prostitution, public defecation, and drug use on sidewalks. Cities stopped enforcing anti-camping ordinances. State leaders directed prosecutors not to charge certain drug crimes. Federal immigration laws were nullified by city policy. In the name of compassion, progressives dismantled the foundations of public order. That's right. That's right. He goes on, Governor Gavin Newsom called the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops to restore order purposefully inflammatory. Mayor Karen Bass said, we will not stand for this, referring not to the attacks on police officers or destruction of public property, but to the federal response. She reaffirmed her administration's ties to immigrant advocacy groups and made clear her allegiance was with the protesters, not with the law. What's truly inflammatory, Schellenberger writes, is not sending in the Guard. It is standing by while mobs pelt law enforcement with bricks and fireworks, then accusing those officers of oppression. It is watching public space descend into chaos while calling the enforcement of laws the problem. Yep. California is what happens when states abandon its duty to protect ordinary people while tightening its grip on the law-abiding. And then he goes in and talks about COVID stuff, too, because they certainly tighten the grips on that, but here they won't tighten the grips at all. There's so much more to discuss about this, but the left is showing you who they are, and so are their leaders. And it's not about protecting you or the average American or the law-abiding citizen or people who play by the rules. It's not about that at all. It's about giving all of these illegals 100% amnesty. You heard them. And if it takes militancy, they're going to do that too. And they're going to allow these protests to continue until Trump puts a stop to it, and he's doing it. And so is Homan. You're listening to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. We'll be right back after this break with more about this story, and we'll move into Pride Month.
Larry Elder isn't happy with where some of his tax dollars end up.
Half of the taxpayers in America are conservative, but 100% of taxpayer dollars that go to Harvard go from conservatives and liberals. And if Harvard hires professors, obviously because of their viewpoint, and I am supporting Harvard through my taxpayer dollars, whether it's for research or for student loans, I have a problem with that.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
The American military brings together brave men and women from across the country who have chosen to answer the call when their country needs them most. At aviatorfuel.com, we know the military because we live the military life. With books written by a Navy pilot and run by a hard-working military spouse, aviatorfuel.com is proud of our service and our country. That's why we never compromise on authenticity. Our cocktail books are modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. But instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito. From classic recipes to military specials like the Queen of Battle or the Afterburner, our cocktail books have something special for every veteran. So go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Summer is all about making great memories. Boy, I love getting out on the boat. I admit that one of my little joys in life is to get on a boat and ride around on Tampa Bay. But if you're living with pain, those future memories can be stolen from you. Here's a thought. Try Relief Factor. Let's see if we can get you out of pain. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement designed to help your body fight pain. It's a doctor-developed formula made of natural ingredients. The best part of all, Relief Factor never masks the pain. It helps reduce or even eliminate it for good. Whether it's doing what what I do, whether it's kayaking on a lake, running around with the little ones, or just chilling in the hammock with a good book, Relief Factor can help you feel better, move better, and do more of the things you love all summer long. So if you're ready to reclaim your summer and make some amazing memories, head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF. Do it now and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That number again, 1-800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions with their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions. They have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
The Real Story with Jeannie Ives continues on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, welcome back. We've got Patrick on the phone. Patrick from Schaumburg wanted to weigh in on the conversation. We've been talking about these absolutely unconstitutional. Well, they're not unconstitutional, but they're definitely getting illegal. These riots, definitely getting illegal. One more thing from Schellenberger's piece that I want to read. The fact of the matter is that the people who run California don't see the riots as a crisis. They see it as a cleansing. They believe civilization itself, in the form of its laws, its borders, and its police, is corrupt at the root. In this worldview, civilization is not progress, it's a crime. It is what made the conquest of indigenous peoples possible. It is what permitted slavery. It is what created capitalism, fossil fuels, and families with 2 parents and fixed addresses. To them, the entire American project is a centuries-long atrocity masquerading as democracy. Yeah, I do believe that's what the left believes. I do believe it. They don't believe in the American exceptionalism. They don't believe in America as a republic. Who knows what they believe in? That they certainly believe that if you're illegal, you should be allowed to stay here. And I adamantly don't agree. Patrick in Schaumburg, welcome to the program. You're on with Jeannie Ives.
Hello, Jeannie. I'm a little depressed right now.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Welcome to the club. I agree with you, but I wonder if we've reached a tipping point where you have the illegal immigrant population reaching a point where, in your big cities especially, where you can't go back, because if you want to uphold the law, you can't, because they're in the streets. You see it in Los Angeles, you see it in Chicago, New York, all these places. At one point, it becomes, I hate to say, a civil war, or I don't know where. It's a little depressed. I'm 74. I may not be around much longer, but there's no going back. You can't put the genie back in the no pun intended. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You got. I swear to God, I think it's 30 million people here illegally. I don't think it's 11 like they always tell us. Oh, there's 11 million people. There's 25, 30 million people here illegally.
Yeah, no, Patrick, I understand. I mean, I think that people have even said it's upwards of 45 million. I've heard that number thrown about. Yeah. But certainly the Trump administration is the first administration to really take this job seriously and at least make an attempt to deport those who are here illegally. And the way that they're doing is they're rounding them up as criminals first. And the Abrego situation, I mean, hey, they brought him back, and now he's going to be completely prosecuted, put away in jail for a very, very long time. And when he's done with that, he's going back to El Salvador. See ya. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
Jeannie, can I say something?
Sure.
My fear is that this guy Abreu, where are they going to bring him to trial? In Tennessee or Maryland?
I'm not sure yet. Who knows? But right now he's sitting in jail in Tennessee.
Suppose they bring him to Maryland, in Baltimore, in a federal court, and there's a couple people on that jury who say innocent. What do you do then?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know that he's going through that type of a trial since he is here illegally. So yeah. I have no idea what his situation will be, if it'll just be a judge or what's going on with that. So I don't know. It's a good question, though.
I say let's put Genie back in the bottle. What the hell? Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for your call. I really appreciate it, Patrick. No, we've got quite a mess on our hands here. There's no doubt, and I appreciate Tom Homan's efforts, but I guess Delia Ramirez doesn't. She doesn't appreciate any of these efforts, and she was bragging out on her X account how she gave Kristi Noem a letter saying that she and the Trump administration have abused the power of the Department of Homeland Security to pursue a campaign of persecution and mass incarceration and deportation. Deport them. I mean, this is a woman who's a sitting congresswoman whose mother came over and dropped Delia, and voila, Delia becomes an American citizen. And her mother, I think it took her years. I don't even know if she's a citizen yet. And then she married a DACA recipient. So, I mean, this is an entire family that came here illegally and has been supported by Americans, even though they came here illegally. And I think that's what really has got people. Look, come in legally. I think I've told a number of you, I mean, if you've been listening to this radio program at all, you've heard at least 3 or 4 times about my brother-in-law situation and his wife, Marietta, who is stuck in legal immigration hellhole, bureaucratic hellhole, can't even get over here from Australia, even though they've been paying federal taxes for 30 years on property in Florida. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran. She had a green card. She let it lapse because they were on assignment with a defense contractor in Australia. Green cards are for people who are here in the country, not for people elsewhere. They just expected to get a new one when she got here, and they now won't let her in. It's been 3.5 years. And we're just going to let these illegals stay when we know they came here illegally? And by the way, asylum seekers, asylum happens in the first country you enter. The first country you enter when you're seeking asylum, that's the place where you receive asylum and where your case is adjudicated. That's how it works. And refugees are a whole different category of immigration, an entire different category for which we have caps per year on refugees and for which they go through typically a 2-year vetting process, and typically that happens in a refugee camp. But what you're seeing here is none of the above. These are not legitimate asylum seekers. It's very rare for them to be legitimate asylum seekers. These are people coming over the U.S. and wanting to live in America and live off the American taxpayer, because that's what they're doing. And they came here illegally, and it's wrong, and they need to go back. And if they want to come in legally, fine, they can come in legally. But they're abusing our generosity, abusing our system, violating our laws. And God bless Tom Homan. He's having none of it, and neither is President Trump. Neither is President Trump. I'm gonna have my stuff on Pride's gonna have to stay, but wait a little bit. But I am thrilled that the Department of Defense has pulled back from naming a naval ship for Harvey Milk, who actually was a sexual predator. He likes young boys. Or he liked young boys. He's dead now. So wanted to talk about that and a little bit more about what's going on. But we're going to have to go to break here, because coming up in the next after break, I've got Jonathan Greenburg here to talk about the big, beautiful bill, what's in it, and what does it mean for kids in terrible public schools in Illinois. May get a chance now to come out of those with this brand new tax credit scholarship that Trump has put together. And it's part of his agenda. It's one of the 50 things that he outlines in his big, beautiful bill. And we're going to talk about that and more after this break. You're listening to Jeannie Ives on The Real Story. Thanks for joining me this Sunday night.
it's time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Fox News, I'm Ted Linder. Violent protests against immigration enforcement for a third day in L.A. today. President Trump sending the National Guard troops to help local law enforcement deal with unruly demonstrators.
Nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
The president speaking to reporters before departing Morristown, New Jersey, Sunday. And President Trump's proclamation restricting travel from 19 countries goes into effect at midnight.
Travel from 12 of those, including Afghanistan, Iran, Libya, and Somalia, is restricted outright and deemed very high risk for a variety of reasons, according to the White House.
Fox's CB Cotton, that includes countries with terrorist activity and hostile governments. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Maha starts with Virago, making America healthy again. With the worst flu season in years, you need an immune system boost. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against and. So get Virago. Virago Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals, ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects. Recommended by medical physicians, dentists, and other healthcare professionals, Virago is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It even protects your heart, kidneys, liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Maha. Making America healthy again starts with Virago.
Your business is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fact. Small businesses are the low-hanging fruit. You may think you're protected, but you're vulnerable in many ways, and cyber attackers actively prey on small businesses. But Turnkey can protect you. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. Turnkey has a quick and efficient 12-point evaluation to determine if your business, your profits, are at risk. And right now, for a limited time, Turnkey is offering the first month of service to all new customers free. Peace of mind, free. It includes all Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, and completed data backup both on-site and off-site, plus help desk support. Don't leave you, your employees, and your customers vulnerable. Talk to Turnkey. Visit turnkey.pro. 3 decades of experience. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey, the champion of small business.
Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining me this Sunday night. And of course, all the talk this week was about the Trump-Musk brush-up, basically big split, divorce, 2 parents, leaving each other, however you want to talk about it. I really don't care. Honestly, don't care that much that those 2 are on the rocks. I think it'll all be repaired. Charlie Kirk was talking about it, and I think he's right. I think men fight differently than women, and this will probably all blow over at some point. So he was also on talking with Stephen Miller, and it was about the big spending bill. And, it was a great conversation. I actually highly encourage you to go back and listen to just the clip on the Charlie Kirk show on June 5th that in the discussion he had, the full discussion he had with Stephen Miller about the big, beautiful bill. It was very informative. And I think that if you do listen to it, you're going to learn something. I pulled just 1 minute, and I think it's important for us to start right here before we get to my next guest. Take a listen.
The reconciliation bill is a chance in one fell swoop, without eating Democrat votes, so without a filibuster, to be able to codify the very campaign promises that we have done by executive order. So people keep saying, well, why don't you put the executive orders into law? That's what this bill literally does.
Yes.
And one last point. This bill is not a spending bill. So this might shock some in your audience who've been following the commentary online. How much money does this bill appropriate to the Department of Education? $0. How much does it appropriate to left-wing NGOs? $0. How much does it give the Department of Labor? $0. Department of Commerce? $0. The federal workforce? $0. It's not a spending bill. It does not fund the government. It has 2 major fiscal provisions. It expands and makes permanent the tax cuts, and it fundamentally reforms welfare. And the most significant policy provision, which pays for itself through visa fees, is sealing the southern border.
Well, there you go. So I think that kind of clears up where this whole thing is going. I love Ron Johnson. I think I agree with him, too. We do need more spending cuts, but they're claiming this is not necessarily a spending bill. I mean, the devil's in the details, but Trump and the White House did put out these 50 wins in the one big, beautiful bill, and literally lists 50 different provisions. It makes the Trump tax cuts permanent. It raises America's take-home pay by as much as $13,300. It delivers no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. It finishes President Trump's border wall. It boosts Border Patrol and ICE agents to the front lines. It increases the child tax credit to $2,500, protects Medicaid for Americans who truly need it. That means, you know what? If you're able-bodied, you're going to have to work. It eliminates hundreds of billions of the Green New Scam tax credits. I can't wait for that. Reverses electric vehicle mandates, stops illegal immigrants from receiving tax credits and taxes remittances sent to foreign companies. That's great. It incentivizes Made in America. It helps American farmers, protects hardworking taxpayers by canceling Biden's illegal and unfair student loan bailouts. Oh, might be my favorite one. It enhances the capacity of America's naval fleet. That's a good one, too. Modernizes air traffic control. We certainly need that. Here we go. Number 39 out of 50. It incentivizes scholarships that empower American families and students to choose the education that best fits their needs. And discuss more of that is my good friend Jonathan Greenburg. He is the executive director for Empower Illinois. They are a school choice advocacy group and also, I believe, a scholarship granting institution, or at least they were when Illinois had its own tax credit scholarship. He's here to discuss what what's going to happen when this big, beautiful bill passes? What is the possibilities in Illinois for school choice? Jonathan, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's your organization saying about this, along with other, groups around the country? How is this actually going to be implemented? Will it be easy to just pick up the reins from before and drive forward, or is it going to be a little bit more complicated in Illinois, since we are Illinois and the teacher unions hate this stuff?
Well, the glorious thing about this being a federal bill is that the powers that be in Illinois can't do anything about it.
That's awesome.
The fact that we're 39, I mean, that's got to be an oversight by somebody. This is a key deliverable of the conservative movement over the last, 30, 40 years. This is huge. This would create school choice in every state in the union. It would replace the program that we lost here in Illinois. We had the Invest in Kids Act, and the governor and the legislature let that die and let a bunch of poor kids who were benefiting from it go back to their failing public schools. And now we're going to be able to replace it with a federal program. And the provisions of this thing actually are really cool, and everybody should know about it. People will be able to give whatever they want to give, up to 10% of their adjusted gross income for scholarships, to a scholarship granting organization that will give that money for scholarships for kids to go to private schools. And 100% of that money is a federal tax credit, meaning you can either send that money to Washington or you can give it to a kid to go to to get out of a failing public school and go to a private school. It is literally dollar for dollar. It's a great deal.
Wow.
And
that's a no-brainer. Like, wow.
No brainer. And it's a $5 billion. The House bill was changed from $10 billion to $5 billion. The Senate version still is at $10 billion. We're expecting the legislative language to come out this coming week, so people should pay attention to that. But even at we want it back up to $10 billion. But even at $5 billion, this would be a sea change for school choice, especially in states like Illinois, where the political reality has been difficult. We haven't built a political culture here in Illinois for school choice. This gives us a chance to build that revolution, to make new stories from kids who are going to public schools now that are not doing what they need to do for them, get them into private schools, and then take those kids and tell their stories to people and sell school choice to the people of Illinois. This gives us the chance to do that.
It's awesome. I mean, so $5 billion, I mean, just across 50 states, that's going to be $100 million. That's actually more than you had in the tax credit scholarship that we previously had. That means more students could be served if we're only just getting, 1/50th of the amount.
Yeah, it's probably more like $200 or more million.
Okay.
It's a significant amount of money. It's a significant increase over Invest in Kids. And again, Invest in Kids was a 75% tax credit on your state taxes. This is a 100% federal tax credit. So again, you can either send the money to Washington, D.C., or you can give it to help kids go to private schools.
Yeah, this is exciting. So I know that there was a lot of rules, though. You had to kind of claim the credit. There was only so much money available. Then you had to get a certificate back saying that you were one of the recipients to get the credit. It seemed, is it going to be pretty streamlined? Is your organization, if this passes, and I imagine it will, I don't see it not passing at all. In fact, this is going to sail through. They're going to pound anybody who doesn't pass this through. It's going through. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
so what are you guys doing?
I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, what are the rules? What are the rules for people to sort of claim this?
So we don't know yet. The Treasury Department is going to be handing down rules, but it's Trump's Treasury Department, so we're hopeful that it'll be favorable rules that'll come down. And anybody who wants more information about this, go to empowerillinois.org. You can sign up to get emails from us. We'll keep you posted on what's going on. We'll let you know how it is, how you can get involved if you want to get involved. And we'll keep in touch with you about the tax credit. But in terms of what we're going to do, we're a scholarship granting organization under the Invest in Kids Act. We will be a scholarship granting organization again. We'll probably set up an associated C4, a 501c4 organization, to help tell some of those important stories and promote school choice generally in Illinois. The 501c3, that's a scholarship granting organization under the federal bill, can only be a scholarship granting organization. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Have you heard from any schools who previously, actually there were actual schools that closed because They had gotten an infusion of kids through these scholarships, and when those scholarships went away, they had to close. They were just, your neighborhood Catholic schools doing better work than the publics, and they had to close. Are schools excited about this? Have you heard from them?
Absolutely. It was tragic for schools. It was even more tragic for families.
Yes.
But I will say this is going to be this is going to be huge, and because it's a 100% federal tax credit, I think it will actually be a lot easier to raise money than the 75% state tax credit. So empowerillinois.org. People should go sign up for. Give us your email address. We'll keep you posted.
All right, Jonathan Greenburg, Executive Director of Empower Illinois. Thanks to you so much for joining me tonight on The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. Really appreciate you.
Thanks, Jeannie.
All right. And we'll be right back with more Don't Turn the Dial.
Spring, a time to get outside, be active, play with the grandkids, enjoy life. But if high blood pressure is holding you back, the sooner you get control of it, the sooner you'll stop being a walking time bomb. High blood pressure is a serious issue. Your blood vessels are constricted, your mortality risk is high. So what can you do besides take medications with side effects? Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
Can you afford not to have effective video surveillance? Is your outdoor inventory at risk? Theft and vandalism can hit your bottom line hard. Stop these events before they happen. Monitor your business 24/7 with alarm detection systems. We prevent crime with live operators watching video alerts, ensuring your assets and employees are secure. It's not worth the liability when you can effectively protect what matters most. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143. Spending too much on security guards to patrol your property? With rising crime rates, guards may not be enough. And the cost, it's adding up fast. At Alarm Detection Systems, we offer a more innovative solution. Live video monitoring. Cameras provide extra coverage in even the hardest to reach areas. Unlike guards, they never get intimidated. Our operators watch video alerts in real time, cut costs, increase coverage, and stay secure. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
We now return to The Real Story Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight. And I did want to get to this whole thing. You know, it's June. It's June, and typically you see the rainbow-colored pride flags flying vigorously everywhere. But you know what? It's really been damped down. And I attribute a lot of that to Donald Trump and some of his executive orders and certainly the pushback that people have seen. And actually a repulsion of the trans movement. The trans movement is falling apart. And we've got to do our part to, like, just kill it. Everybody knows it's a lie. People know it's a lie. Maybe Naperville hasn't woken up to that. Certainly the Naperville school district hasn't woken up to that. They still think that they need to let middle school boys compete against girls in a girls' track meet. And there's other people in Illinois that haven't woken up to it either. But you know what? It is coming apart. It absolutely is coming apart. And the more it comes apart, the more unhinged the left gets. And certainly one of those people who's really unhinged is Kelly Cassidy. She's a state rep. I actually served with her when I was down there. She's been down there way too long, like forever. And she's terrible on just about every single issue you can imagine. She is as far left as you can get. And so here's what she had to say about a situation where you had Republicans, of course, call out the fact that Naperville was letting a middle school boy run against girls. And they did make some statements about that, and that's what they should. And then Kelly Cassidy had this to say in response when she found out that she thought that they were making a game of it. They weren't, but here you go.
For the better part of this session, we have spent a great deal of time hearing from folks on the other side of the aisle, talking about a fraction of a percent of the population demonizing trans people, and in particular targeting trans youth. And yes, I have expressed anger and frustration and heartbreak at it. So much so that our colleagues spent the better part of a week attempting to erase words that made them uncomfortable. Just as at the federal level, the Republican administration, led by your fearless leader, Donald Trump, is attempting to erase people from history, whether it is foolishly deleting a picture of the Enola Gay because it said gay from a Department of Defense website, or mandating harmful, abusive treatments as appropriate treatments for transgender folks.
I have no idea what she's talking about there.
And that's bad enough on its face, really. But something happened last week that made me even more questioning of the humanity of the folks who express their obsession with trans youth on this floor. In a conversation that I would call a last-ditch effort to rescue a collegial relationship, one of my colleagues replied, "Come on, Kelly, you know the game." Another colleague recently shared with me overhearing another one of our Republican colleagues referring to what they call the game. They call the game fishing for Cassidy. I want to tell you what the outcome of your game is. Your game involves sharing the likeness, name, and location of a child. The child in Naperville that y'all have spent more than a week
she's from Chicago,
banging the drum about. You shared the images of this child. It became international news. This family has been faced with countless death threats because you think it's a game. Since January, the organization Trans Up Front, that serves families of trans children, has had reports of 21 suicides and attempted suicides by trans youth.
All right, that's about enough of her. Okay, you see where she comes off as the high priestess, always correct when it comes to people vilifying other people. No, she is one of the most. She's one of the people who vilifies Republicans for anything. And the comments made were no problem. I mean, it was about, are we going to protect girls' sports? Are we going to let men, boys compete against our young girls? That's what the comments were about as referred to Naperville, but not for Cassidy. Cassidy has to take another step. And by the way, she has no proof of any of this. She has no proof that there were 21 trans youths that recently attempted suicide or committed it. There's no proof at all in anything that she says. And as far as like outing a kid, they outed themselves. They were at a public place, allowed their son, a minor child, like an 8th grader, I think, or a 7th grader, to run and compete against girls. What, did you think that wasn't going to be public? And these guys, the Republicans never outed them. The family outed themselves. So this is what you're dealing with in the state of Illinois. But fortunately for her, and maybe she's a little bit unnerved because it's all coming apart. It's all coming apart. And you know what? The best news is that, you know what? They are not going to name. They are pulling back. They're not going to name that Navy ship for Harvey Milk. They're not going to. And Lori Higgins wrote this back in 2019. She noted that on Friday, the San Diego Union Tribune reported that construction had just begun on a Navy ship named for the United States naval ship Harvey Milk, after the pederast Harvey Milk. You read that right. The U.S. government is honoring a febophile, that is, an adult male who is sexually attracted to pubescent boys, whose only claims to fame are having had sex with teen boys and men and having been murdered by a disgruntled coworker. And she goes on and on. But the idea that Milk was killed or murdered because he was gay is completely false. That story's been completely debunked. But they wanted to turn him into a hero and name a ship after him. And so that's not happening. And that was at the start of Pride Month. So there is pushback occurring. Pushback is happening. This from CNN. Big brands are pulling back on Pride merchandise and events this year. Guess what, folks, listeners? You need to do your part too. Provide some pushback where you can. This Pride Month, many retail chains and brands are going quiet. Companies are treading lightly, avoiding prominent campaigns and visible public support. 39% say they plan to scale back public Pride Month engagements this year, according to a survey of more than 200 corporate executives by Gravity Research, a risk management advisory. That includes sponsoring Pride events, posting supportive messages of LGBTQ rights on social media, and selling Pride-themed merchandise. It's clear that the administration and their supporters are driving the change, said Luke Hardig, the president of Gravity Research. Companies are under increasing pressure not to engage and speak out on the issues. The subdued approach marks a shift for businesses, which used to turn the annual all month June celebration of LGBTQ America into a branded holiday. It's part of a broader pivot in corporate America, with many businesses scrapping some of their programs. Good. It's exactly what we need to happen. Anyway, coming up after the break, we have Brad Halbrook, state rep. We're going to talk about that lawsuit the Illinois Freedom Caucus filed about the budget process. And we've got much more to discuss with him, too, including the new meta deal with Constellation Energy. We'll be right back. This is Jeannie Ives.
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. You can't go there. You can't play your favorite sport. You better sit this one out. It's no way to live. If pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help you get back to living life again on your terms. One where you say yes a whole lot more. Head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 800-4RELIEF. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by a team of doctors and scientists, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, your joints, your muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. Give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, a low-cost way for you to sort of take it out for a test drive. Less than $1 a day. Go to ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4-RELIEF. See how you could live with less pain and you can say yes to more of everything you want with Relief Factor.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Violent protests in Los Angeles. I'm Ted Lindner, Fox News. The National Guard is now on the ground. Tensions flaring again between protesters and law enforcement outside the federal courthouse in L.A. Fox's Christina Coleman is there.
There were dozens of anti-ICE protesters all along this major freeway here southbound on the 101, just blocking off. Some of them are going back and forth. We heard some flashbangs there. Law enforcement trying to get this under control as much as they can. It has been very chaotic down here downtown LA near the federal building all afternoon. You've had tear gas dispersed, rubber bullets deployed, all to try and protect the property and to protect the people here from some of these anti-ICE protesters who are just causing chaos.
The demonstrators protesting immigration enforcement efforts. President Trump has given Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth the authority to call in Marines from Fort Pendleton outside of L.A.
Nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
Meantime, after temporarily working with the Trump administration as a special government employee, Elon Musk has spoken out against the president's big, beautiful bill. He claims it does not do enough to curb federal spending. Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought on Fox News Sunday downplaying the criticism from the SpaceX CEO.
The president's moving on. I think the president and all of these headlines are missing the fact that the president is the leader of this administration and the one that is driving the agenda.
The president touts components of the bill, such as tax cuts, but the Congressional Budget Office says it'll increase the federal debt by $2.4 trillion. Musk calls the bill pork-filled and a disgusting abomination. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds breaking overnight with low 56. Breezy tomorrow with sun and some clouds with a couple of afternoon showers, high up to 73. Stars will be out tomorrow night, clear with low 55. Hazy sunshine come Tuesday due to the smoke from wildfires in Canada, high up to 77. Clear Tuesday night with low 62. Warm, plenty of sun on Wednesday, high 89. I'm Ruth O'Brien on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Hut, hut. Listen up and listen up good. If you're tired of run-of-the-mill gifts, then get on over to aviatorfuel.com. You'll find unique military-style cocktail books and barware to go with it. At aviatorfuel.com, we've got the perfect gift for any soldier, sailor, Marine, or just red-blooded American. You'll especially love our military cocktail checklists, modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. These award-winning books are authentic replicas, but instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito, written with military jargon throughout. So pick up a cocktail checklist from aviatorfuel.com. Invite some old friends to share war stories over cocktails. Your perfect libation is inside the cocktail checklist. And don't forget matching military-themed barware. Go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
2815 Old Jacksonville, Springfield. CordellCordell.com.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Yes, it is Jeannie Ives. Thanks for joining me this Sunday night. I really appreciate it. Also, before I forget, I want to say thanks to Paul. He is handling the production in the other side. He's been doing a great job. Really appreciate that. Listen, we start out talking about the LA riots, and I love X because you've got people on the ground there reporting exactly what's going on all the time. And I was just checking my X account, and of course, here's Ted Cruz saying this is not peaceful underneath a post from James Wood. If I hear one more leftist shrill in mainstream media utter the words peaceful protest, I'll throw up. And of course, what is it a picture of? It's a video of a police cruiser engulfed in fire and two more just smashed up next to it. Then you have Larry Elder, Burn Back Better, with with Newsom and Bass hugging each other. That's great. Matt Walsh, the left got away with mass rioting in 2020. That's why it's happening again. The only solution is to treat them like the terrorists they are, use overwhelming force to put down the riots, charge and convict the rioters and send them to prison for years, ruin their lives, show no mercy. Show no mercy, make an example of them. That's exactly right. Nick Sorter, just in, LA Mayor Karen Bass slams Trump for deploying troops and insists she has everything under control. Meanwhile, the crime review next to her shows total anarchy happening live. That was only 54 minutes ago. I mean, the video evidence here it's out of control. And we already know it's spread to New York. We already know that they had protests in Chicago today. Now, those were apparently peaceful. But this is exactly what you need to prevent. This is why Trump's coming in, because 50 days of violent protests outside the Portland federal courthouse taught him something. That was in 2020. Shouldn't happen again. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Ray Lopez, if we want to get ICE out of our communities, then we should start working with them. Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez said in response to events. Okay. Good job, Ray. I agree. Thank you. Well, we're going to turn to what's happening in Springfield, because we just got handed a big bad bill in Springfield. And you know what? I think it's patently illegal how they passed it. Take a listen to this. I think I played it last week, but it's worth listening to again and again and again. This is Don Harmon. He's the top Democrat in the Senate. He's the Senate president. And oh, by the way, he's got an ethics and an election problem. He may owe up to $6 million for fraudulently taking in excess payments. Yeah, he tried to cover that up too. Oh, by the way, it didn't happen, but who knows what will in the future. But take a listen to him. This is him explaining how he's passing a bill from the Senate to the House.
Earlier today, we received from the House a House bill with an appropriations title, a candidate for use in a budget for the end of the session here. We are reciprocating today by sending an appropriation title back to the House, and we'll negotiate with the House on passage of a final budget. So this is a vehicle bill There is no content, and I'd ask members who are able to support the bill going over to the House.
I just wanted.
Okay, so you heard that part. This is a bill with no content. I'm just reading the title. Well, here to talk about that and the lawsuit that they filed, because he's a member of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, is State Representative Brad Halbrook. He represents the 107th State District, and he's been in office for about just over a decade. Brad, thanks so much for joining me on The Real Story.
Hey, you're welcome, Jeannie. It's great to be here.
So tell me about this lawsuit that you guys filed. I mean, I think that the clip I just played is evidence number one that Harmon knew damn well what he was doing, that he was, shirking the rules, and it was intentional.
Yeah. Well, first of all, our welcome to the summer of love again. Is this 3.0 or 4.0? I'm not sure. With all these riots that are breaking out, just another peaceful protest, I guess, is happening all across the nation. But
yep.
Yeah, so they're saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, we see this stuff play out. It gets worse as we get closer to May 31st, the adjournment date. Yeah, I mean, they just said it right there, and it's in full living color and stereo sound for everybody to hear that these bills have no language in them. They're going to add it at the last minute, and it's just shameful. It's just a disservice to the people of Illinois.
So I believe that Senator Chesney sort of took the lead on filing this lawsuit. All of you signed on to it. What is the status of it right now?
Right. So I think we're waiting on a hearing date. And you're right. So there's 7 members, Chesney in the Senate, and the 6 House Freedom Caucus members have all signed on as plaintiffs against the leader, Chris Welch, Speaker of the House, and Don Harmon, President of the Senate, are the defendants. And so we're just waiting out the hearing date now at this point.
And did you guys have any additional evidence other than what, I played? I mean, I think actually that is the smoking gun, because, Madigan was smarter than Harmon. He would never make such a bold bravado type statement, basically bragging that, oh, yeah, we know what we're doing. We're just violating the rules. Do you have other evidence?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else other than what's been laid out. I assume the rest of that will come in time if there is additional evidence. But the complaint lays out a fairly strong case. Again, I'm not a legal scholar. I'm not a lawyer. I don't, that's not my area of expertise. So we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. I'm optimistic. I think it's overdue. This third reading rule doctrine that is being bandied about is long overdue for the Supreme Court of Illinois to review. There was the DeVore case dealing with the
guns,
the gun stuff, the gun ban stuff just a couple of years ago. That was one of their points in there, one of their counts in there. So I think it's a situation that might get some traction, and it should get some traction this summer.
Yeah, I mean, House Rule 38 says the reading of bills. Every bill shall be read by title on 3 different days before passage by the House. Page 66 of Senate rules. Every bill shall be read by title on 3 different days prior to the passage by the Senate. So, did they really mean just read the title? Is that really what they meant? Or what does by title mean? I mean, I guess that's going to come down to sort of hinging on that. Or are you going to a constitutional rule?
Right. This is the question I get from a lot of people that have never been to Springfield or never really watched the proceedings, and they said, well, what are they doing? I thought they read the entire bill. Well, no, they're just reading the title. So maybe that needs to be defined a little bit more. Of course, some of these bills, Jeannie, are several hundred pages long.
Oh yeah, right. You can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's we do have access to them via the they're all on laptops, so we do have access to all of that as legislators and the like. You've been there, you know what it's like. Mm-hmm. And these budget bills are 3,000-4,000 pages each, and the budget bill, the BIMP bill, the revenue bill, these are several thousand pages. I mean, you would have to be a speed reader, and it would take days to get through these bills.
Absolutely.
At your very best reading and comprehension skills available. And so, we get them when we have a few hours, maybe 48, maybe 50 hours, but they just constantly change on us. I mean, new amendment after new amendment late in the day.
Yeah. So, give us a little sense about the budget. I mean, they went all out. There was no like even sort of like, well, maybe we'll just make it a little bit bigger than last year. No, they went all out. They had no qualms about it. Were you kind of surprised that they went all in, spending almost every penny we have coming in?
$2 billion bigger than it was last year. Mm-hmm. Under Pritzker's 6 years, it's grown nearly $17 billion, nearly 40% in 6 or 7 years. I mean, these guys show no shame. They sit there in committee and say this is a hard budgeting year. Things are very difficult. And then they spend $2 billion more. And of course, it just seems to be the run of show that there's $1 billion plus or minus tax hike attached every year. Now, this one's a little bit different because there's several hundred million that they're going to hopefully achieve in a tax amnesty program. So it's not really like it's a tax hike, but it's like, well, I just wonder how collectible some of that stuff is to begin with. This is maybe more budget gimmickry than it is reality.
Yeah. Well, okay. What other bad things happened down there?
It was really bizarre as we started into the end of, or I guess the end of session last week. It seemed almost like an eternity ago now. But, as we started into the last week, a lot of kind of slow start, this idea to suspend the rules so bills could be heard in committee. Mm-hmm. And, maybe they'd have a committee hearing in the beginning, but then they would recess at the call of the chair. And so this was what you'd get. Every day later, the more of these suspension of the posting requirements so they could get it done, get it into committee, but just really bad bill after bad bill. Everywhere you could imagine, more bad stuff up one side and down the other. Okay.
One more thing I wanted to cover with you, and that is this Meta deal with Constellation Energy. I mean, it was pretty much announced just last week with not a lot of details, in my opinion. What do you know about it, and do you have any unanswered questions?
Well, I don't know a lot about it. I'm trying to sort through it because energy is a big thing right now. Yes. But I have way more unanswered questions. And Jeannie, you and I have talked a lot about this over the last, I guess we really since 2021, since before CEJA became law. We had the energy tour, myself and yourself and Dan Calkins and Chris Miller, and we toured these facilities. We toured the Clinton plant then, and that was my second tour. I've been back in there this spring again to Clinton. And so as I've learned more and more about it, the press release went out, or the media coverage on the situation with Meta and Clinton just left a lot of unanswered questions. Jeannie, you and I know that it's about these data centers, right? And their large demand on energy, anywhere from several hundred megawatts to a gigawatt or two. And it's just staggering, the consumption of power that these facilities use, the consumption of water to keep them cool. And so to talk about this thing coming out of Clinton was 30 megawatts. It's like, well, boy, something's really going on there. So I think the way you laid it out in your e-news this afternoon about the tax credits and about the different things probably is a story behind here, just exactly where this is going to go.
Yeah, so just for the listeners, essentially Clinton nuclear plant was on life support. And in fact, it was one of the two Clinton plants that got bailed out in 2016 with the Future Energy Jobs Act. That was $2.4 billion going to, at that time, Exelon. Exelon sold their nuke plants to Constellation Energy. And now Constellation Energy has cut this deal, a 20-year deal with Meta. And it's a power purchase agreement without the details anybody knowing, only that Clinton says that they think they can eke out another 30 megawatts of power to help fuel this entire operation and give Meta the power that they need. But nobody is saying anything. Now it's going to cost, apparently Meta is going to put down upwards of maybe even $1 billion for power that will allow Clinton to stay operational, get them to, actually they're supposed to be done. It's a 40-year contract. So by 2027, they're supposed to be completely like out of service because that's the length that the plant was supposed to be operational. Of course, everybody extends these, but this will allow them to extend them, do some upgrades, and then add 30 megawatts of power. But nobody is talking about exactly how this works. Are they getting a special price? Are they buying renewable energy credits? Are these federal energy credits? Are they state energy credits? Is there some sort of backdoor deal with DCEO for them to buy this power? Because a lot of this is going to fuel, some data centers, and I don't know, it might not be the data center that Meta uses. It might not be placed right in Illinois. Maybe it's one in another state, but they're just buying a power sort of credit system at a particular price. We don't know what this means. Nobody knows I don't think anybody knows what this means.
Right, exactly. And let's talk about the FEJA and the bailout of 2016. I mean, those were ratepayer subsidies that, ratepayers that consume electricity paid for that bailout to nuclear plants then. Of course, CEJA was more ratepayer subsidies, and that was to be a part of the energy bill that was trying to come this spring that never materialized, was more ratepayer subsidies for all the green new scam and the climate hysteria and fantasy. But, we saw what happened with Microsoft restarting 3 Mile Island. What, Jeannie, has that been in mothballs for 30 or 40 years?
A long time. Yes.
So, I don't know if it's cheaper to bring one out of mothballs than it is to build a new one. I assume they can probably get it restarted quicker than build a new one. But the point of that is the demand these data centers are putting on the grid for their energy consumption. And so it's a little bit alarming. I think we all believe and know that Clinton was running at full peak. I don't know that.
When we walked in there, they said they can't push anything more out.
Right.
That's what they said.
Right. So are they, what is going on, and what's this going to mean for consumers around this part of the state?
Well, look, I'm all for nuclear, and I know that you are too. We believe in it. It's great. But I found this one article which gave me more information than a press release did from Constellation Energy. It was from the National CIO Review called Powering the AI Boom, How Much Energy Does an Artificial Intelligence Really Use? And it said consumers could bear the cost. Many utility contracts with tech giants offer discounted rates for massive data center operations, shifting the financial burden onto ordinary customers. And that's what we don't know. That's what we don't know about this whole deal when they got to, we just bailed out Clinton, folks. And they probably got additional bailout under CEJA somehow, I imagine. And now they're going to give Meta preferential pricing. We don't know. The problem is we don't know. Yeah. Well, hey, Brad, I want to thank you for being down there, fighting the fight, filing this lawsuit against the process. I think that there's a good chance that should go forward. And thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me on the Real Story. All right.
Keep up the great work. See ya.
That's Brad Halbrook, State Representative 107th. We'll be right back.
Mike Gallagher can see what Trump does to the left.
These people are miserable. They're just miserable, unhappy, bitter, angry, sullen brats who didn't get their way. The election didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And now all they do is march around and whine about how miserable they are. That's Trump's superpower.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Our local hospitals are the heartbeat of our communities, delivering critical care every hour of every day for everyone, training the next generation of caregivers. Beyond the walls, their benefit to the community is everywhere, driving the local economy and supporting local organizations, initiatives, and neighbors. Illinois Hospitals, healing communities. Learn more at team-iha.org. Sponsored by the Illinois Health and Hospital Association. Aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you looking for a peaceful and enduring resting place for yourself or a loved one? Discover Fairview Memorial Park in North Lake, Illinois. A tranquil haven where your family's legacy can be honored for generations. We're excited to announce the upcoming completion of our beautiful new garden mausoleum opening this spring, offering both above-ground burial and cremation options. This serene space is surrounded by meticulously maintained landscaping and beautiful trees. With limited space available in our mausoleum, now's the time to plan ahead. Reserve your family's place today with prices starting around $7,000. And for a limited time, take advantage of a $500 discount when you pre-purchase a crypt. To learn more or secure your spot, visit fairview-memorialpark.com. That's fairview-memorialpark.com. Or stop by Fairview Memorial Park at 900 North Wolf Road in North Lake. Fairview Memorial Park. Peacefully beautiful.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available, financing is flexible, and at Air Right installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
We now return to the real story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right. Hey, I only got about 4 minutes to explain something that's really important. I wrote about it in my weekly newsletter. It came out today. I'll put it in my blog tomorrow. It'll be put up. But I really encourage you to sign up for breakthrough-ideas.com. Sign up for my newsletter. It comes out about once a week, sometimes twice. But this is really important because 60 counties are getting sued by investors for illegal tax sales. And guess what? This should have been handled 2 years ago. Democrats were too busy spending into oblivion to be bothered about passing legislation concerning illegal tax sales, even though they knew Illinois had a problem. First, a little background. In 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court decided in Tyler v. Hennepin County that the government could not confiscate excess equity in a tax sale over delinquent property taxes. So essentially, the law doesn't disallow tax sales. It disallows the taking of property by the government without just compensation. At the time of the Supreme Court decision, 12 states had laws in the books concerning tax sales that would be in violation of the U.S. Supreme Court decision. So, for example, here's a real case, actually, that happened. Person owes $6,200 worth of property taxes. For whatever reason, they decide that they need a roof replacement and say, well, I'm just going to get my taxes paid off as soon as I can. I know I got a certain amount of time, but before they know it, their property gets sold at a tax sale because they didn't pay their property taxes. And the property is worth $180,000, and all of the equity is gone, even if they have no mortgage on it. Even though they only owe $6,200, they lose all their equity to some investor who bought their property up cheap at a tax sale. That's called illegal. That's a taking, and the Supreme Court weighed in 2023 and said, you cannot do this. At the time of the Supreme Court decision, 12 states had laws on the books concerning tax sales that would be in violation of the U.S. Supreme Court decision. Once they were put on notice that they must change their laws, every state did so except Illinois. And so the lawsuits have ensued. You've got investors suing counties and literally counties suing the state over them being forced to run sales of delinquent property taxes in a way that the U.S. Supreme Court has deemed unconstitutional, and nobody has fixed it. And there was a sort of an attempt at the last minute at the end of session to fix it. Still didn't happen. They have not fixed this problem. And so just last week, Literally, 60 counties and the Attorney General were informed that they are being sued by 4 different investment firms for tax sales that they had already concluded but cannot be completed because the investors will be sued if they do so. They say in this process, nobody reimburses the property owner for their lost surplus equity. Therefore, a property tax sale where the owner cannot or does not successfully redeem will ultimately result in total loss to the owner of not just the property to the extent of the amount of the taxes due, but also the entire value of the property over and above the tax amounts owed. However, the Supreme Court has ruled that such a scheme is an unconstitutional violation of the property owner's Fifth Amendment right. So the plaintiffs wrote in their complaint, plaintiffs assert their constitutional rights against the county defendants for their tax sale certificates to the plaintiffs, which are now all but worthless, as they will either force plaintiffs to pay the surplus equity to the auction property of the auction property to the property owner, or never receive a tax deed, or violate the property owner's Fifth Amendment rights. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they've not fixed it. All the other states did, but Illinois didn't, and now 60 counties are being sued. Everything in this state is a scam, and we'll be back to tell you more about those with the Edgar County Watchdogs right after this break. Don't go away.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
I'm Jack Callahan. Tear gas deployed against protesters who refused to disperse from outside an L.A. detention center today. They later blocked a major freeway and set vehicles afire. President Trump dispatching the National Guard after immigration agents were harassed by groups trying to stop them from arresting suspected illegal immigrants. The president telling reporters today,
well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden and his auto pen.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says the verbal spat between the president and Elon Musk will not impact the president's budget bill in Congress.
Elon's number one responsibility is to save his company. The president and I have the responsibility of saving the country, and that's what this bill does, and we're really excited and proud of this product, and we're going to get it delivered.
America is listening to Fox News.
It's Reveille. Illinois Democrats passed their budget for the upcoming year, and it's a doozy. It's the largest budget in state history, up $2 billion from last year, and $15 billion, or nearly 40%, from just 6 years ago. It includes nearly $1 billion in tax increases and continues to fund bogus nonprofits that are nothing more than politically connected organizations feeding off taxpayers with no accountability. There's no property tax relief in the budget, and still under consideration is a $1.50 delivery charge on Amazon, Uber Eats, and the like to bail out Chicago Transit. Even more shameful is the lip service the Democrats gave the developmentally disabled community. Illinois ranks 49th out of 50 among states in the level of support it gives the developmentally disabled. 2 years ago, Democrat legislators LaPointe, Collins, Villanueva, and Syed wrote an op-ed in the Sun-Times bemoaning the low wages direct support personnel receive. They noted DSPs can, sadly, make more money at an Amazon warehouse or driving for Uber, and many have reluctantly made that choice just to feed their own families. They pleaded with Governor Pritzker to increase the wages by $4 per hour. The goal is a wage that is 150% of the minimum wage. Pritzker increased wages marginally, but then he cut hours. The same thing happened the year before. This year, no different. The Democrats put an 80-cent per hour increase for DSPs in the state budget without changing the overall appropriation amount, meaning they will see a 35% cut in hours and, compared to the minimum wage, fall further behind the target. The 4 Democrats who wrote about the problem 2 years ago voted for this year's budget that makes the problem worse. And then they also voted themselves a $7,000 a year pay raise. I'm Jeannie Ives. Be informed. Listen to The Real Story Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
You deserve a dedicated financial resource. Meet Michelle Ashute with West Point Financial Group, a Mass Mutual firm. Michelle builds lifelong relationships, guiding families through legacy strategies, from grandparents down to grandkids. She helps people secure their financial independence. Her tailored approach to savings can help you prepare for college, retirement, or business protection. Michelle's needs-based approach helps you prepare for all of life's biggest moments. Michelle Ashute of West Point Financial Group, helping you earn, learn, and secure your tomorrow. Email Michelle at mshoot@financialguide.com. That's MSCHOOT @financialguide.com. Local firms or sales offices of Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company. Mass Mutual, Springfield, Massachusetts 01111-001, and are not subsidiaries of Mass Mutual or its affiliated companies. Michelle Ashute is a registered representative of and offers securities through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SIPC. Supervisory office located at 30 South Wacker Drive, Suite 2700, Chicago, Illinois, 60606.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now, because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
Well, we know who's watching. It's the Watchdogs. Who's watching? There's always on to something here in Illinois. Just the best of Illinoisans. That is John Kraft and Kirk Allen, the Edgar County Watchdogs, and they join me. They join me almost every week. We missed them last week, just too busy covering some budget stuff. But let's catch up with them now. John and Kirk, how you doing? Great. Are you on? I'm not hearing them. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Good. We're connected. Yay.
Right.
So, hey, well, it was a little bit of fun. Let's just start with that. A little bit of fun on Friday as we went and watched the contempt hearing with Tiffany Henyard. Why don't we just start there and go forward? Why don't you explain to the audience exactly what was that? John's on too? All right, awesome. John, why don't you just explain to the people how this came about, that she was held in contempt, and how, and you guys, it was a case that you were involved with, one that you brought forward.
Yes. Back in January of 24, January 2nd, actually, during a village council meeting, she went on a tirade about she's got proof and receipts, and held up this piece of paper saying, and here's proof that the trustees canceled their credit card when they obviously they shouldn't have. But we knew they didn't cancel the credit card. And she said during the meeting, I've got proof, I'll give it to all the trustees, and I'll give it to the public. So 3 days later, I sent a FOIA request for it. All of a sudden, they can't find it anymore, and she has no idea what I was talking about.
This is in January of 2024.
Yeah, and then we go through the normal court for over a year, close to a year and a half now, and there were finally court orders to force her to produce the record, and she didn't comply with the court orders. And the FOIA provision under paragraph 11, if a public body doesn't comply with the court order, then they have a $1,000 per day fine until they do. So she was held in contempt. She was supposed to attend in person last week. she didn't, or the week before last, and she appeared by Zoom, and the judge told her, "You will be here on Friday in person." So she showed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she showed up with the lawyer that she had just hired the day before. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and she was supposed to be there to provide sworn testimony. And when our attorney asked the court to call her for testimony, her attorney stood up and advised the court that she would plead the fifth to every question.
Yes.
She would plead the fifth, and she wouldn't answer questions.
And he also admitted, although everybody knew, that she is under federal investigation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that may be the first time that admittance has come out publicly, even though everybody knew it.
Right.
If you get a subpoena, obviously, you're under investigation, or somebody is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what a FOIA can lead to. Oh, by the way, you have to respond to FOIA. She literally, and you showed me the video of her waving the piece of paper. I've got the receipts. I know what they did. And you just simply, okay, well, it's FOIA-able. And she couldn't produce it for 1.5 years. And then apparently she has to just file some sort of affidavit about how she attempted to find it, but she can't now.
Yeah, and
that's
then,
kind of a farce. That's a farce.
Maybe that constitutes spoliation of evidence. Who knows? She had it. It was a public record. The only way to dispose or destroy a public record is to get the okay from the local records commission, and they would not allow destroying an email that soon. I don't know what the time frame is, 6 months, a year, 2 years, but
what are the chances that she was just lying?
Oh, well, you got to base those chances off on everything she said the last 4 years. So I would say it's greater than 98%. in my personal opinion, but can't prove it at this point in time yet. But it was certainly an email. It appeared to be an email. So somebody has a copy of that email, or it was on the server. So maybe they'll find it. I don't know. All
righty. Have you been noticed whether or not she wrote her affidavit, or is she going to continue to rack up $1,000 day of fine?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Her attorney said they would do it that day, but who knows?
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Hopefully, it gets paid up front.
Somehow, I feel like she's just going to skate out of all of this. Maybe not the federal stuff, but maybe this contempt fine.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the case. So.
Yeah. Okay. You also had a good story about Kane County. Kane County admits to mistakes in CDL masking, likely resulting in death of a DeKalb County deputy. That's a really relevant story, and you just put it up this week. What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, last summer, we published the article about this alleged masking of commercial driver's licenses.
Explain that in more detail. Explain that in more detail, the masking of what actually happened. Okay.
There's a federal law that prohibits masking of commercial driver's license, and masking means concealing or disposing of a criminal or any type of case that would be an automatic revocation of your commercial driver's license, like drugs while operating a motor vehicle, DUIs and other things of that sort. That would be an automatic revocation of CDL. States are prohibited from hiding those from the federal government and from the Secretary of State. And it appears that that's what happened here, although Secretary of State, after we wrote our article, fired off a letter to the Department of Transportation asking them to investigate and basically saying that Kane County unlawfully masked convictions, which resulted in the death of a deputy. And DOT...
Because this driver should have had their license revoked, and if they had it revoked, they wouldn't have been driving, And what happened is the driver ended up killing a deputy on the highway.
Correct.
Right. And so you're saying Kane County admitted that they did this?
Yes.
Wow,
somewhat.
that's huge.
They admitted that there were mistakes that were made, and here's some of them. The prosecutor's office said they were initially told the state police failed to appear for grand jury hearing, which was not true according to the prosecutor's own statement. They were under mistaken belief they couldn't obtain the squad video, but the video.
Hell? Does nobody know how to do their job?
But the video magically appeared after the plea deal. But the prosecutor doesn't say who had it when it magically reappeared after the plea deal. They didn't go into that detail. Well, we had it, we just misplaced it, or state police gave it to us after we already did the plea deal. They didn't say that. And then they go on this crying your beer about opiates and how they're aggressively pursuing the opiate manufacturers in the courts, and that this defendant was a statistic of those opiate manufacturers' actions. I mean, that doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter at all.
No. And he admitted to being on heroin. He pled guilty to Class 1 possession of controlled substance and DUI. The DUI was not prosecuted after he completed treatment. That there is masking.
Okay, time to name names. Who's the Kane County State's attorney who screwed this case up?
I don't have that.
You don't know who was? I don't even know. I should know who the Kane County State's attorney was because this was what in 2024 because the year matters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll find that out.
Well, here's the. Let's see. I got it. Jamie Mosser.
Jamie Mosser. Oh, she's a Dem. She's a Dem, and she can't run. She can't run an office well. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know what her political leaning is.
Well, I do. And she can't run an office. This created a death.
Yeah, they admit to unintentional non-reporting, even though the court ordered the circuit clerk not to notify the Secretary of State. It's in the court order. The judge should know better.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, again, yeah, we need competency. We need complete competency, and we don't have it. All right. We got to take a short break. We'll be right back with Kirk to talk about some stories that he has. This is Jeannie Ives. You're listening to The Real Story on AM 560.
Who's watching me?
The American military brings together brave men and women from across the country who have chosen to answer the call when their country needs them most. At aviatorfuel.com, we know the military because we live the military life. With books written by a Navy pilot and run by a hard-working military spouse, aviatorfuel.com is proud of our service and our country. That's why we never compromise on authenticity. Our cocktail books are modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. But instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito. From classic recipes to military specials like the Queen of Battle or the Afterburner, our cocktail books have something special for every veteran. So go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Mike Gallagher here. Don't risk losing the trusted news, traffic, sports, and weather you get from AM radio stations. It's time to make your voice heard. We need Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars. When internet and cell service is out, AM could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now. Text AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
We couldn't decide if we needed in-home care for Dad.
Right. Just some help here and there with bathing, organizing his meds, a walk through the neighborhood.
Oh, exactly. But everywhere we looked, we had a 4-hour minimum. It was more care than he needed. and it didn't make sense to spend extra for it.
Then we found Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. No minimum hours. We were shocked.
Now a caregiver stops by once or twice a week for just an hour or two to help with the small things that make a big difference.
And Mom loves the visits. It's not just help, it's companionship.
At Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest, we understand that not every family needs round-the-clock care. We serve DuPage, Cook, Kane, Kendall, and Will counties. We conduct free in-home assessments and we guarantee compatibility. Call Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest today at 331-281-0728. Again, that's 331-281-0728. And tell them AM 560 sent you. Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. Senior care, only better.
Hey, heard you're getting ready to move.
We just listed our house on the market.
Just make sure you have the right attorney.
Doesn't the real estate agent take care of all that?
They stay involved, but you want to make sure you have a great lawyer that's negotiating the terms, helping resolve inspection items, clearing up title issues, preparing the deed and other documents, and attending the closing.
The attorneys at Nauman & Associates in Elk Grove Village have decades of experience handling real estate transactions every day all over Chicagoland. NALawGroup.com.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. We've got Kirk and John on. Hey, by the way, you guys made the Chicago Tribune. With your Henyard story. They discussed you and named you guys. So that's good that they covered that. Mm-hmm.
Took them long enough.
Well, usually they like to steal your work, so hey.
We've been reporting on that thing since 21, and how long did it take before the local media got involved?
Yeah.
Years.
I know. September 21, you guys wrote the first story about Dalton. Dalton that's now trying to cash in on the Pope's celebrity status. Oh, my gosh. Whew. Well, I do hope that the new trustees and the new mayor get things turned around there. I really, really do hope that happens for the people down there. But they've got far more bigger problems when it comes to property taxes and all sorts of other things that they need to get done because they've just been for so many years just mismanaged. And but by the way, they're not the only ones, right? We just talked about the Kane County State's Attorney. She can't seem to run a case correctly. And then Kirk, you come up with this one. Shelby County settles $850,000 federal lawsuit without a single board vote. That is insane. I think that's illegal.
You wouldn't believe the number of people on social media that are saying there's no vote required because the insurance company made the payment. And it's comical because when you read the agreement, it names the parties and it says the parties acknowledge that this release is a global release. Well, board members didn't even know about it. So how can the parties acknowledge it? And it also says, it doesn't say the insurance company paid. The document actually says Shelby County is making that payment, paid by Shelby County. Well, I understand if the insurance company pays it, that's an operation of, their policy, but that's different than if the county pays it. And all that aside, board members had no clue this was happening, zero accountability. But how we finally got to this document is another example of officials not even knowing how to do their job.
Okay.
The state's attorney denied our request for this record, and they play games. It's not in my office. I don't have that. There's no record found in my office. Well, I didn't expect it to be in her office. You're going to have to contact the legal counsel that was working for you because she wasn't able to take this case. I don't believe she's even licensed to practice in federal law, but all that aside, she didn't contact the attorneys to get it. She just denied my request. So I had to send her the case law that's specifically on point that requires her to go get the record. So she reaches out to get the record, says that she'll get back to me after she reviews the case law. Then it's silence, not a word from her. I had to turn it over to our attorney. Coach, our attorney, sends her a letter or sends her an email, and presto, the next day I get the document.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but there's so many people involved in this. Now I'm going for the depositions. I want all the transcripts from the depositions of this case because this young kid that came into that jail, he was a heroin user and warned them, I'm going to be detoxing, or I'm going to have withdrawals. I'm going to need medical help. And basically it all got ignored, and he damn near died. And the failures, I've read one of the transcripts, and it's ironic. You've got corrections officers that have never even been to the academy that are working corrections in a county jail. And I'm not talking they're there working with another officer that has been to the academy. The record reflects at least 2 people that night working. Neither one of them had been to the academy. Now, how do you do that?
So they're not trained.
And this settled. Oh, it's clear, crystal clear they're not trained. They admit it in the depositions. Not only are they not trained, nobody, because of this settlement, nobody is held accountable. The sheriff that did this, the former sheriff that allowed this to happen, the corrections officers that allowed it to happen, the private medical health care provider, ACH, they were also on this. There's a settlement that they also made with that gentleman, and I'm working on getting a copy of that now. I sent the FOIA off right before this phone call. So we're going to expose the malfeasance that took place in that county. But there's people that are defending it. Oh, he was a druggie. He should have just, he deserves what he gets. You still have civil rights, even though you're in jail. You cannot treat people like this. But that's another example, Jeannie. These people get away with it. Well, they get away with it when we continue to settle these kind of cases. And I get it. There's, if you go to trial, it's going to be a whole bigger payout or a whole bigger, debt that's going to have to be paid. But when do we hold people accountable personally for their actions?
We never do in this state. We never hold anybody accountable. Nobody's ever held accountable in this state, ever.
No.
Least of all the politicians. The sheriff's an elected position. The state's attorney's an elected position. They never get held accountable.
That is correct.
It's a joke. Or all the other malfeasance cases that you've brought up, all these other people like stealing on the taxpayer dime. They're not held accountable. You talked about we need to do quarterly watchdog training, and so I want to set that up. Guess what? We're going to invite the state's attorneys. Why not? They would actually learn something from your training.
I would love to have them come and do a panel discussion.
I'm going to invite them. Why not? Yeah.
Do you want to place any bets on whether any of them show?
No, they won't show up. I don't care. Troll them. They should. You guys know more than they do in a lot of cases. Okay. Hey, we got to go.
Local government.
You know what? I got to run. I'm out of time. So I will talk to you guys next week. We'll be right back. This is a real story.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
The real story.
30 seconds left. So here it is. I would love it if you guys all showed up for our Breakthrough Ideas annual dinner. We've got C.L. Bryant, award-winning filmmaker of Runaway Slave and Trump Advisory Board member, Pastor Corey Brooks, and John Anthony. And we're going to talk about, is civil rights become a race hustle? And where do we go from there with these gentlemen? Join us on June 26th. Go to breakthroughideas.com to get your tickets.
More health conscious these days, worrying about their weight, what they eat, what they put into their bodies. And if you're in pain, taking pills to mask the pain is not the answer. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Please listen up. There is hope to end your chronic pain due to arthritis or an